Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of the Real Solution Podcast. Yay!
Get it.
I am here. I am Brandon Bad of Brandon Bad Entertainment. Our fiery redhead who's got some shit in her today. And we have our very special guest, our one and only Lara.
Laura, thank you. Thank you for
I had to
mispronouncing it again.
overemphasize that. Lara. Lara Luhu. Yes. Glad to have you. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
And we're glad you're here.
Thank you for having
Welcome back to another episode. We are gonna have a shitstorm talk today.
We're going to take a little break from some of our hardcore topics.
Come on, break.
And we're going to lighten things up. We're going to talk about online dating.
Something you've never done.
You just had to chisel it in a tablet.
Oh.
Did they have those back then?
Oh, it's getting so rough in here. I don't love it.
You have no idea.
He's just a millennial. He understands nothing.
Hey, she's on the cusp as well.
I was like, technically, I'm a millennial and I hate it.
Okay, well, good, because, we don't have a high opinion
What is your generation
of millennials.
called?
Old.
Oh, rude.
I am actually on the tail end of baby boomers. The
what I
very,
thought.
very
I thought you
tail
were a
end.
baby
I
boomer.
am.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it ends in like blah blah blah.
Okay. Yeah.
I was
yeah.
born in.
Got
I heard
you,
that.
got you,
Okay.
got
Okay.
you.
Okay, so
Good to know.
I'm right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
At the cusp. Okay,
That's
great.
like I'm years old.
Yeah. So,
Well, I'm in my prime, 25 and fine. Thank you.
I'll hit
well,
you in
he's
the parking lot.
25, anyways, ladies and gentlemen.
That one.
25.
That one.
Wow.
Okay.
The disrespect.
So,
The truth.
you get what you deserve. Bam. Okay, so what we are going to do is we've had some really interesting conversations with Laura and online dating. And so we're going to hear some stories. We're going to talk about some serious stuff with it too, because there are some things that some people really need to be aware of, and it's really scary that they're not.
No.
So let's get this started. I did some stats.
Ooh,
Laura?
I love numbers.
Come on. Research.
Love research.
Well, I've got from one website the 7 reasons dating sites are good.
Ooh, I would love to hear those. Let's hear it.
Number 1, thousands of platforms to choose from.
That's too true.
The count is up to 8,000 platforms, with 2,500 of them are just in the U.S.
Yeah, I was on blackpeoplemeet.com last week. Yeah.
Well, and you know what I have? It says there are dating sites that are specific. Seniors, gays, vegans, people of color, hookup sites, relationship-focused sites, Star Trek sites.
I have heard of those, yeah.
Golfing. Now, the one I have seen on TV lately, and I'm a little concerned. It's got 2 horses on a laptop.
I was like, is it farmers only? Tell me
Farmers
it's
only.
You don't have to be lonely. Farmers
Well, at first I wasn't sure.
.com.
Are the horses looking for dates?
You don't
But
know.
then after a while, I realized they were hiding from the farmer, so
Why do
they
they
was
have
trying
to-
to get him a date.
Why do
I do
horses
have a
have to be lonely, guys?
I do have a quick question. So, do we consider hookup sites dating sites?
Do we
Online
consider
dating?
what?
Hookup sites dating sites?
Well,
I guess
it
because
depends on what you use air quote dating
I
sites
would say
for.
because some of them are like disguised in name as dating sites.
Yeah.
But I was just curious because people cited us what they're identifying.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, they're
get you.
classified as dating sites, but they're really
Yeah.
a hookup
Yeah.
site.
Gotcha.
Like Tinder is notorious for being a hookup site, but again, I have started a relationship off of Tinder. So as long as you make sure people know what you're looking for.
Michelob Ultra doesn't count.
I love Michelob,
Our
and
relationship.
Mickey and I love each other. No, as long as you know very clearly from the start what you're looking for, it's pretty fine. But most of the time, people assume you're there looking
Do
for
you even know
one
what they're
thing.
looking for on there?
It's very clear.
Oh.
You put it on there at the very bottom. You put looking for friends with benefits, DTF, relationship,
What does DTF stand
down
for?
to Get funky.
We're down to
Woohoo!
We're just gonna put it out
No,
there.
do not use that word.
Down to
They'll
funky.
cut us out.
Down to funky.
The proverbial F word.
Yes. Yes.
The second reason that sites are good is you can go online and date whenever, wherever you want. You don't have to wait for public locations to open versus the alley.
Wow.
You don't have to coordinate.
Public location. That's a way to say that.
Well, bars, clubs, restaurants.
Alleys.
But see, people don't do that anymore.
Well, apparently they do. You don't have to coordinate with family or friends to be available to chaperone you.
Oh, yes, that has been a concern. Get my
You
brother
can be
out there.
anywhere and wear anything while you shop. Or nothing at all.
This is people, right? This isn't human trafficking. This isn't dating, right?
is-
We're not
they-
shopping for
No.
humans. Okay, this isn't taken.
Well, you are shopping for
Okay.
humans.
Wow.
It's
This
just
isn't a taken
I'll
situation.
take
you
this
know-
one. I'll take that one.
And then they'll be on my boat. And
But
this-
you know what? Right there's a good point of things to be very cautious about. How many human traffickers take advantage of these sites?
Oh no, 1,000%. That's one thing that, like, if you have a mother and she doesn't want you to get kidnapped, she tells you the 9 million different things that could happen to you on these websites.
What about the responsibility of that individual who chooses to
Again, true.
try to fulfill their needs from those sites?
Again, true.
And I don't want to put blame on anybody, but like, is there a certain level of responsibility? Like, if I'm willingly on this site and we discuss something and I willingly go and something happens, like, granted, the other person's wrong, but like, you know, do we consider that objective as well?
Well, but that's where we'll get into talking about things to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You have a
Bring a bag of
responsibility to
marshmallows,
yourself
honey.
first and
Marshmallows will protect
foremost.
you.
I never even thought about that. You
soft,
just throw a marshmallow
fluffy.
into the alley and you
keep
say,
them in the
eat,
bag.
go, and then run.
It's like a big pillow fight if they try to get you. No,
Oh.
my marshmallows.
I'm thinking of the F word
That's
over
so
here.
weird. That's the weirdest thing I've ever
Freak.
heard for a safety.
That's the F word.
Is there
I
like a
got.
special dating website for marshmallow
And
wax?
I'm gonna love marshmallows.
Is that like a
show
website
up
for
to
you
me
guys?
with a date and a bag of marshmallows, and you can kidnap me.
That's a website, isn't it?
probably
Like marshmallowwax.com.
I don't know, but that's something we'll have to look up.
I'm
Okay,
gonna.
the third reason that dating sites are good is browsing and flirting are 100% free.
People don't know how to do that.
Well, you don't have to commit to anything, including a date during the checkout stage. You
Nobody
just
wants to commit to Laura. So
That's a true statement. Yes.
looks like Michelob.
His name is Mickey,
Okay.
it's by force.
and I have made him do so.
She firmly grips
He's a
him.
caramel man.
Wow.
Look at his color. He's amber.
Oh my god.
He's a superior light beer, amber colored. Says so on his label.
Ain't
I
nothing
have
wrong with
labeled
that.
him.
Okay, and the
feel so
fourth
bad.
reason
Sorry,
dating
Mickey.
sites have millions of members. Zoosk, is that how you say that one? Zoosk
Zoosk.
Yeah.
Zeus.
has 40 million members.
Oh, that makes me so sad.
eHarmony has 33
I'm
million.
trying to get on there one time.
I am on there. I don't wanna
Tinder
talk about it.
has 50 million.
I'm on there too.
Tinder's a joke.
And OkCupid
I refuse to be on OK
tried.
has
it.
3.5.
Alright.
They bringing up the tail.
If I
downloaded
refuse to be on OK Cupid, you know it's garbage.
Hey,
And now
plenty of fish is out there getting it.
That one's the no. That's the bottom of my
so
dumpster fire.
those
Kindle.
sites have, those are members. Plus, they may have, just passerbys and
true.
visitors. So those
Free
numbers
trials.
could actually be higher.
Yeah.
The reason that the sites are good versus, think about it, if you go to bars or clubs, you have a limited fish pond of
That's
only
true.
50 to 100 people versus you're talking about millions here.
That's true.
You know,
And you have access anywhere you go throughout the country.
right.
You know who's out there, regardless.
Now, one of the skepticisms that I have is it's supposed to be, people looking for relationships or whatever, but you also don't know what they're saying is being true.
Correct.
Yeah.
So,
But the sites don't promote them also as dating. Like, they give you these options. Like, what are you looking for? What am I interested in? And with all those other categories, I don't think they're for dating anymore.
No.
They're for extracurricular activities.
Let me just set the record straight. I have yet to do any of these online dating sites.
We can put you on Bumble.
I haven't been on what?
On Bumble.
Bumble.
The women have to choose. Anytime you match with a guy, he cannot reach out to you. You have to reach out to him within 24 hours. or
I'm
his
married,
match
okay?
Goes away.
I don't need the dating
It's
sites
like
now.
the elite of social media.
But
But we never
it's-
had them.
It's safer for women because we have to reach out to men. Men cannot troll us and be disgusting and send us dick pics.
And that's Bumble, B-U.
It's Bumble, yeah, like Bumblebee, just without
Okay.
the word bee. Mm-hmm.
But people are usually
Bumble?
a lot more attractive on Bumble.
Yes, because you have to take a little bit more time, and you're not just going to be able to be like, "Here's my dick," and run away with it.
Yeah,
it doesn't work that
there's
way.
some crafting.
I mean, that's the way it is out there. They're like, "Look at what I have,"
Oh, sure.
and then they run away.
Yeah, Bumble makes you craft a little bit more, like your profile and like. It's
You have to work a little harder.
Well, if I ever need it, I'll remember Bumble.
Yeah, just remember that.
But
Bumble,
I'm set.
and
Whether
get
I
a month-long subscription so that you can see who's matched with you. I'm just saying.
So we're gonna put Laura's Bumble profile at the end of this.
I'll show. I can tell you what it is. We can
Okay.
all just get down that road.
The
I'm a
number
delight.
5 is you can filter your preferences.
That's true.
There's no judgment of your preferences, whether what you choose, age, gender, sexual orientation, appearance, ethnicity. You just put what you want. The system kind of pulls the people that fall into those categories.
That's a good conversation because people can fetishize preferences.
Can what?
Fetishize.
Fetishize?
Fetishize, yeah.
Like,
I might have had a couple of Laura's Ambers today.
yeah, it just like
Michelob Ambers.
on Tinder you can't specify certain.
I don't think
things.
she wants to share Mickey.
No.
But yeah.
Like on Bumble, you can specify: do you want to have kids? Do you want a relationship? Do you want to just have a hookup? On Tinder, they're like, "Are you a person?" Cool. That's it. That's all they need to know from
I'm
you.
also talking about like a person's individual
Which is true.
characteristics on fetishizing.
That's fetishizing.
Yeah, whatever.
It's a
You
hard.
know
It's a
what?
terrible
It's
word
a
to
terrible
say.
word. How they can a certain type of person.
Which is true.
Versus like there's a fine line between the fetish and then the preference, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And people,
No, it's true.
there are a significant amount of people being called out for not really having a preference, and you actually fetishizing a type of person.
Okay.
I know a gentleman where he tries to say his preference is Asian and Latino men, but in reality, he has a fetish for them, and it doesn't come out in a specific way. It's like, screw everything else. This is only it.
But isn't that normal human thinking?
Behavior.
I mean, if I'm attracted to,
There's a fine line. It's
That's
it's
true.
just a fine line, and it's a very fine. And there's a specific type of person that really understands the preference from the fetish. And when you learn to look at certain type of people and how they say.
because I have a fetish.
Oh, all right. Me and Mickey are very interested. What is it?
I like men.
Me too. Yay!
I don't say I don't think that, but you know.
I don't love them right
So,
now. They're garbage. But yeah.
It's just really about realizing that they're just signs when you listen to people and how they speak and what they say and what they
There's
do.
certain subtleties
Oh,
that
like-
tell you that's
Certain-
more of an obsession than.
Boom,
Yeah.
there it is.
I was like, let me ask you the difference then. Like, people I find attractive, like Tom Holland, Taron Egerton, which he just played.
I know none of these people.
Well, he played Spider-Man. He played Elton John in the new Rocket Man,
Oh, okay,
right?
nice.
And then Ryan Reynolds when he
Oh,
was
Ryan
really
Reynolds
young
is a
and
nice-looking young
skinny
man.
and sarcastic in this
We had
90s
this
TV
conversation.
show. So basically, scrawny white dudes are my type. Where would it become a fetish? When would you go, oh, Laura, no, you don't have a preference. You have a fetish, my friend.
See, it's a bit difficult with white men. I'm just going to say it flat out just like that. It's a bit more difficult to understand it when it comes in terms of white men. But when it mostly
Why?
applies
Good point.
because it mostly applies to every other race but. Not that you can't, because I'll give you an example. People who fetishize I don't know if I'm saying that word right.
Fetish. It's very. Yes.
It's very difficult.
You have a southern accent when you say
it's
fetish.
a struggle. People who fetish over the whole daddy image.
Oh, dad bods.
There are
love dad bods.
Not just dad bods. This whole
no, but
daddy
I do. I love
image.
them.
And so that's more applicable when you're talking. I guess more easier to determine when you're talking about white men.
They do have a
versus like the average Joe and this daddy, and they refer to them or everyone that they're seeing like, nope, that's not it. He's not that look. It's this daddy look. It becomes a fetish versus the actual individual and the dating that you're trying to get to.
I get what you're saying. Like, you cannot accept someone who is not blank.
Correct.
Like, you refuse to look out. Like, I met somebody who was the perfect personality for me. He made me happy, etc., but he was not blank.
He was not that. Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
And there's a fine line. That's why I say it's very fine from it being a preference of yours
to being a requirement.
To being a requirement in a fetish.
Okay, I
so easier spotted when they're talking about other races, such as people who are Asian descent or Hispanic descent or of black race. Easier to pick up on that.
So little scrawny British dudes. A little rougher is what you're saying.
Okay, then.
Harry Styles is...
I
don't know what to do with that information.
He seems right up the alley.
Now, I don't necessarily agree with number 6.
Okay.
Online dating can be safer than meeting people in bars for obvious reasons. To me, that's not obvious because if you're online dating at some point, I guess you can control the meeting better than if you were in a bar. Because if you meet somebody in a bar and they take some of that fetish obsession with you,
or a little
they're going to follow you. Yeah, they can follow you straight out. Online dating, I guess you can be more specific where you meet, more of a secure meeting.
I think it's almost the same because people can tell you they can tell you what you want to hear in person.
That's true.
And they can do the same thing online. So I think it's a fine line. I really think it's almost the same because the right person will know exactly how you pick up online and what to say to you and how to make you understand and make you feel empathy or sympathy for them versus the same way that somebody can do at a bar.
Which is why I think I'm alone.
I mean, I mean, take me to Chinese takeout and then a cinnamon roll. I am just.
I can't handle you.
Just FYI, I can be kidnapped. A van.
Oh my God!
A van with wine. You know how the children. The stereotype
like it's
is
candy or puppies. You're like, it's
so instead of the ice cream truck, just come around with
a terrifying man in a van with wine
with a glass of Moscato. What is how you get me if a van show up? Hey, would you like a glass of wine? Let me just go over here and see.
You're like, okay.
What's going on?
I would love to.
I'm going to get kidnapped.
No. We're not coming looking for you. It'll be too hard to track you down.
Y'all will give me up so easy. Well, he was taking wine from that van over there.
It does make sense.
You didn't think that was a problem?
He walked over there with a straw.
We were sitting on the patio over here at XYZ restaurant.
And we said, maybe
van pulls up with a glass of wine. Brandon gone.
I was gone.
See, I think the thing with the safety is you have to be smart and you have to be vigilant, and I think a lot of people aren't. And
we can talk about catfishing.
Right?
Ooh.
I meet people in a public place, if I meet them at all. I let my friend, I was on the way to a date once, and I said, okay, this is the restaurant I'm going to. This is the time I'm going to. This is the name of the person.
You have to send your location. The beauty of iPhones. Boy, I will send you my location if I'm not back in 45 minutes.
I said 2 hours.
You track my phone.
And I sent her a screenshot of his profile. And I said, this is where he is at this moment, wherever.
This is where we're meeting, what their name is, what their profile is.
This is all the information they've ever given me.
How often do you show up and they're to a date?
Oh, and they're a different person?
And they don't match their picture?
Oh, I do not stay. I leave.
So does that happen frequently?
Yeah, not frequently. I don't meet with I think that's part of the problem with online dating, and I think I've spoken to you about this, is that we don't see people as people anymore. They're just numbers or pictures. So, I see a person in a booth, and I'm like, yeah, you're not the person I thought you were. Bye.
It's happened one time.
I've never met up with someone and they've been a completely different person, but I have been on 2-hour dates where I've been like, okay, I knew within 5 minutes this was not going to be a thing because you don't look at all your pictures and it makes me sad. Like, people lie. And one thing I do now is I ask them to Snapchat. And not because I'm a gross, disgusting sex monster, but because I want to see them moving around when they cannot filter a photo and they cannot proof it.
That's a very common thing for people to ask for your Snapchat profile.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
They feel like it's like a more, not necessarily safe, but it's accurate. I can see you. It's live. It's recent. It's happened. You can't stage it.
Yeah.
You can't just send me something. You got to send me a Snapchat fresh off the camera.
Right then.
So
right
people
now.
do that a lot. And typically I won't go for it because I'm like, I don't want you to have my personal Snapchat. I hate to block people. I just feel like I'm at a point in life where like I ain't got to do all that. A lot of people are like, I don't care. If I don't like you, I'm going to block you. But I'm like, I shouldn't have to do all that. But yeah, people Snapchat. And they're just like, nope, add me on Snapchat. Let's snap each other. And it's back and forth and it's current. So it gives you a little bit more reassurance and trust that this person may be who they say they are and the pictures are matching.
Like, I went through 5 dates in a row, I think, where the person didn't look like their pictures. And I was like, you know, it would have prevented this. It prevented like 10 hours of my time.
You when I met you.
I know, right?
Your work photo did not look. Oh,
No.
You're Laura.
I was like, okay, you're a lot thinner now.
Okay, see, we didn't have internet way back when I was
Ooh, so how did y'all date back then?
Yeah, how did you meet?
well,
How
either
did you not get
school
murdered?
or work. Well, here's the thing, you know, you
met my ex at
prank phone calls.
What?
Wait, you met what?
You could meet people through prank phone calls.
Wait,
you would
what?
dial random numbers, especially on Friday and Saturday
Not a
nights.
thing.
Well,
This is not a
wait
thing.
minute,
It was-
no, because landlines was still hot when I was growing up.
Not just.
we had a landline.
I know
But
what a
you
landline is,
But you would dial a number,
no,
and
it's
if
the prank call
some-
part that
called from
upsets me.
people.
well, and if
Did you
some,
meet your husband that way? That's my problem.
but you know what? Sometimes some people did.
Okay, well, that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
But now,
Tonight,
there's no
no.
landlines
You gonna call?
anymore. But
Does it
but
matter?
but you couldn't have them send you a Snapchat. So you
yeah.
had to find out where they lived or where they were, because you had to
It's not-
stalk them. You had to go sit outside.
So you had to Ted Bundy people in order to prank call them. So basically, you were serial killer behavioring.
No.
You were Bundying people.
No,
That's
this
what
was
you were
this
doing.
was prank phone call day.
Before serial killers
This
were a
was
thing.
landline phone
You
day.
were landlining people.
Landline phone dating.
Before bundying was a thing, landlining was a thing.
Landline
And
phone
it just transitioned right
I will
into
tell you
bundying.
that I did not go on to meet any of the ones.
You're a catfish then, is what you are. You're just a voice on the other end of a phone going,
And you had to use payphones
She got
because
to pick the phone. Would you like to pay baby?
I was like, wait, you had to use a payphone? You didn't even come from your own?
Because you know that can
oh,
still call
hell
ID.
no.
Wait,
Or
you
you
didn't
went-
have caller ID
Or you
always.
had a
Habiba.
you had a,
You know you had that beat.
we didn't have beepers back then yet either.
Okay, so
Oh,
why
no,
did you
you-
use
God.
a payphone then? Why did it matter?
Yeah, she had to put
Because
that
they
nickel
call
in
you
there.
back?
Well, because you just didn't want to take the chance.
No, I
don't even remember
I
when
used to Star
call-
69.
I was gonna say I don't even remember when Star 69.
Man, the Star 69 was hot.
Shit, girl, I remember my grandmother had a party line.
What?
How many husbands did she have? Let's just put that right out there.
No, she lived in a little city.
How many manstresses
But
did
there
she
were
have?
5 people
Oh, man,
on this
she's-
party line. You didn't have. That's how far we have come. My grandmother had 5
still very
neighbors,
upset.
4 neighbors and herself on the same phone line, because you
On the
could pick
same
up.
phone line?
Yeah, because you could pick up the line and somebody else would be talking.
Ah, wow.
So they had to share it because you couldn't afford your own.
So it's
phone
like having
line
two
back
Was y'all splitting the
brothers.
bill?
Yeah.
Do what?
Was they splitting the bill?
Yeah, you got charged for being on a party line. You got charged a portion of that bill.
It's no
that
different than
is
having 2
interesting.
brothers, and every time you pick up the phone, they're like, "Laura, get off the phone! Well, get off the phone!" And you're like, "Okay, for the love of God, you have one friend.
See, mine was
you have
different.
one friend."
I would pick up the phone, and then all you would hear is my mama downstairs. Who got on that damn phone? My internet done went out.
Okay, see,
Pick up that phone, and then I hang up the phone real click.
You're like,
ooh, sorry.
And AOL, it has to restart from the beginning.
oh my goodness.
God.
Okay, so
Either
that was
that or
number
a
6. Is there
sibling.
one more?
Number 7 is just that there are dozens of success stories, but you never
Dozens,
know
literally
how your
dozens.
story will start out, and you will not know how it ends
Talk
if you
about
don't
success
do
story.
it.
Do y'all remember Mary Kayla Tornell?
I did. I threatened that on someone recently.
You threatened that?
You know this about
You
me.
remember Mary Kay Letourneau?
She did. No, wait, no. She was the one who dated a student.
Yeah,
I'm thinking
it wasn't
about
necessarily as.
I was thinking about the one who
Bobbitt?
Yes, I was thinking about
Bobbitt?
Lorena Bobbitt,
Oh,
who made her man differently abled
wow.
in a way that isn't helpful for him.
She took away his manhood with a kitchen knife.
Yep.
And I threatened a person.
Is that the one that threw it on the highway?
Yes.
Yeah. Now I wouldn't wish that on no man. Now listen,
Yeah,
women,
Mary Kay Letourneau is like where I'm headed. Let's
you
face
have
it.
some kind of issue in life. Lord, please don't cut that man stuff out. Please just don't do it.
He was going to come to my door at 8 a.m. without my permission. I said, don't you dare.
I mean, he should have given you a warning.
Or I will do special things
'cause
to
the
your
morning-
special parts.
The morning is a great time.
Not for my face. It is
Wait.
not. This is not what it looks like all the time. And it's important that you
that's a
all
valid
know
point.
that.
That's very valid.
Well, we're going to cover some stories here because there are some
so
ugly
sorry.
truths to online dating. But what we would like you, our listeners, to do is we're going to put this up on the website to ask for you to send in some of your scariest, your funniest,
Please do.
what stories you have for online dating so that we can share those as well by the time we air this episode. And I'm going to go really quick through these. There's just 5 of them. Ugly truths. People lie on their profiles. They say they're looking for a relationship when all they want is sex. They're negotiating the scamternet. Relationships don't last, and it makes you picky and judgmental. Now, Michigan State University conducted a survey. Now, this is as late as 2016, so some of these stats have increased a little bit. Those that start online dating, 28% are more likely to break down with those couples rather than those that met face-to-face in their first year. 5% of Americans who are currently either in a committed relationship or marriage indicate they met their significant others online.
How many? 5%?
5%. And that's been 3 years ago, so I'd venture to say that's probably closer to 10, 15% now. So we'd like to hear from you all out there as well. Did you meet your significant other online? Are you still together? For how long have you been together? We'd like to see what our listeners say.
There's a significant amount of people who like meet casually in person the first time and then follow up via online dating.
Well, that's true too.
And so that gives them more of a comfort level to communicate. I don't know why people feel like they can be awkward in person. Like if you did a high and by type of situation.
But if they already met in person, do you think that really counts as online dating?
Well, it's because they take it to the next link via the online.
Okay.
So it's nothing for people to do a high and by situation and, hey, we met at this party a few weeks ago. Do you remember me? And then they start talking there. And then that conversation turns into 2 months of conversation. And then it turns into, well, let's go on another date. Mm-hmm. Well, let's go on a date.
It's low stakes.
Yeah. It's less of a risk. So I think that should go into effect because the high and by situation and then follow up online happens a lot.
Well, and I was telling, I think y'all both know this, a mutual friend of ours, I met her best friend of 10 years through Tinder. She texted me my own profile.
Way too small. The world is way too small.
Yeah.
Because
that's my point is that it doesn't really matter. You
you'll
will end up online dating.
You'll meet somebody and then
if you're single.
I know that person. How did y'all know each other? Yeah. And then they'll talk about you. And
the coworkers I find on Tinder.
I'm so glad I'm not there because you were. Now I
always swipe left though. I'm like, nope, know you. I know you. Nope, I know you.
Definitely got on Tinder like a year ago.
I'm sorry.
And I know, right? Just briefly, I was bored. And
yeah, we all are.
I had already broken up with my ex at the time, and his old roommate was on Tinder in Nashville. And I was like, ooh, I'm going to just go ahead and swipe left on that one because we do not need any connections there.
Right. But I mean, like, you can meet, like, me and that guy were friends. Like, not best friends, no. but like we know each other and we're cool. And I've seen other people that I've met and now we're friends on. I swear, like 5 people who liked my last thing on Facebook were people I've been on one date on with. And I was like, oh, I remember you. We did go to the Cheesecake Factory that one time, and it was horrific. Thanks for tuning in. Like,
you know, I'm such a creeper, so like,
that's good to know.
My favorite social media platform is LinkedIn.
wait, are you finding lots of jobs on there? And I mean air quote jobs.
Listen, nothing turns me on than professionalism and business.
Ambition, right here. Yes. Ambition. I get
and
it.
I just feel like if I can read your LinkedIn profile and, oh my God, you've been a CFO. Oh,
I'm like, oh my God, yes. I'm like, wait, you just moved up twice in the past year. Yes.
I'm that type of person. Like, I'm not going to say I haven't, like, added someone on LinkedIn.
I'm taking my LinkedIn down.
I would. There are people like us out there. I don't do that, but I get why he
add
does.
you to my connection on LinkedIn, hoping you'd be like, you'd see me and notice me.
I'm sorry.
I'm not going to say.
I never thought about that as a dating profile, but every person I've added on LinkedIn now, I'm going to go through and be like, do I know you well enough for this to be an okay thing?
Oh, I added my number 1, and you know who my number 1 is. On LinkedIn, hoping he'd see.
Shut up.
Hoping he'd notice me.
I'm dying.
So when that guy gets on his LinkedIn and finds out there's only 3 of them.
Boy, y'all are so disrespectful.
Snorting over there.
Yes. So, I'm just saying, LinkedIn is my go-to.
Is there anyone else out there in the listening world who has used LinkedIn for their dating site?
I'm certain someone has.
Yeah, I'm
You've
sure
communicated about a business meeting or a post.
I just want to air quote around all of this. I just want to, like, this is all innuendo. This is all about a business meeting.
I am so glad I don't have to worry about this dating thing anymore.
God, you are very lucky to be 33 and still be on online
to get
dating.
married. You should feel so proud of yourself.
It's like whenever my mom is like, you'll find someone. I'm like, is it hard for you? Is it hard for you being in your late 20s and finding my dad?
No, but at this
is it hard for you? And she's like, damn.
People our parents' age don't care no more. My mom, I'm trying to get her married off, and she seemed like she just ain't going for it.
Oh, my mom is never getting married again. She's told me that multiple times. She's like,
I did my mom off for the first time.
She said, I paid my dues. And I was like,
you know what? It would take a very, very special man for me to ever do it again.
That's what my mom said.
I think that, you know what, online dating just shows how flippant, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, we've talked
but I
about
think that online dating has made it very flippant. You don't have to build a relationship. No. You know,
people don't know how to date.
Well, and you said it earlier, they don't know how to flirt. Mm-hmm. They don't know how to build a relationship.
Correct. People, and especially the millennials in my generation, so like back in grade school, they had this bad habit of, if we're talking, air quotes, that we're in a relationship. And people forget that you have to date to determine if you can be in a committed relationship. People don't know that now. So just because you meet someone and y'all go on dates, y'all are not in a relationship. No. That doesn't justify that one's going to work with you.
Well, and people take flirting as also being a commitment sometimes.
But because look at Laura.
You don't even know me. Shut up! Like, stop. You don't even stop. You're so cute. Like, stop. Like, stop. Like, you're so cute.
Because I flirt with a lot of people.
I know. Stop.
Well, we're also Southern, and
I will go to HR.
But I'm not a Southerner.
That's very true.
I am a Yankee.
You've been here a long time, though.
I have been here for a very long time. I've been here for 29 years.
Almost a whole hour.
At this point.
But you know what? I still remember flirting in my teens and my 20s. Yeah. And to be honest, I've not stopped. I still do that. My husband is a huge flirt with people.
Oh,
but that's, you know what? That's how you get to know people.
Yeah, I definitely am. Oh, absolutely.
I know.
For sure.
I know.
That's how you really get to know people,
You're
determine
disgusting.
what they like. I mean, it's a base level line of what they do and don't like and what you can and can't do or can and can't say.
It breaks the ice.
Yeah.
You know, because some people, flirting doesn't always mean you're trying to get somebody in bed or trying to date them or something like that. It's a way of breaking the ice, and because I'm pretty sarcastic and I use that sarcasm a lot, and not just with men and women. It's how you interact with people. Online dating takes a lot of that away.
It takes a lot of the personal away, and
You can say it though. You can say it via online.
You can say it, but it doesn't hold the same meaning.
You can be flirty online.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying?
You can definitely be flirty online.
My thing
it's
is,
what you say, but the problem is it becomes borderline sexual. At the end of the day, flirting via words on screen, it turns into assumed sexual.
Because the receiver puts the accents on the parts of the sentence or the words they want to.
Yep. Come on, you better.
It depends on where you are, on what website you're on, et cetera, et cetera. But it also, like, we don't owe anything to that person on the other side.
We don't do that.
Exactly, you don't. But, like, we don't owe anything to the person on the other side because we don't know them. We don't know who they are. We don't try to understand who they are because they're just words on a screen, right? So we devalue people. There's always another picture on that screen. Like, you don't have the job I want next.
You're making your first initial response based on appearance.
Yeah. But isn't that dating in itself? If you're if you're like, okay, let me rephrase. No. Not dating in itself. That was bad. The initial meet. What you determine if you're even gonna go after someone is the base level of attraction.
But how many relationships do not start that way? You know what? My husband and I met at work. It was not love at first sight. But within the first week, I said, I'm going to marry him. And that was the furthest thing from his mind. Right. We were best friends. We hung out with a group of people.
Yeah. You never went, air quote,
we never went on a date. There was never a time where he said, oh, would you like to go out with me tonight? It was like, hey, everybody's going here. Are you coming?
Let's go here.
Well, sure.
Wink, wink.
The closest thing would have been one time a group of us were downtown and the rest of the group were all wusses because they had to work the next morning and they had to get their beauty sleep. We didn't care.
Wow.
We went.
Wow.
We went walking on through. It was called Dancing in the District then. I don't know what they call it now.
Dancing in the district.
Yeah, down at Riverfront Park, they always had bands. They had street vendors and stuff. And so
they also had kissing.
The closest thing to a date was I went up and petted one of the horses on a carriage ride.
I asked her if that was the only thing she petted.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, look at this horse and whatever. And he goes, let's go on the carriage ride. And we went on a carriage ride. He bought me a rose. Closest thing to a date we had. We've been married 24 years in August.
Woo.
And never had the first date. So I think dating's... No, I'm just kidding.
Like, I get what you're saying. My problem is that when you're just a picture and someone goes, yeah, no, this is where she went to school, or no, this is what she does, and you just flip and you're like, no, the next person will be better, or the next person will be better. You keep going. Like, when I meet someone in person, I may not like the way they look immediately.
Yeah, it does.
But as I talk to them more, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit more attracted to you. I'm a little bit more attracted to you. And it, like, before I know it, it creeps up on me. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm thinking about you a little bit more than I thought I would have.
Yeah, I totally get that. Because online, it's definitely an appearance thing. Like, are you attractive? Do I like what your stats are? And it's not really a good idea of if it's anyone.
Because sometimes you're not always building a dating relationship. Sometimes you're just building your network of friends.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you may not be dating material for me, but I may not know that until a couple of talks or hangouts or whatever, and then you go, you know what? We turned out to be pretty good friends.
Well, I mean, like, look at it this way: that there's a guy I've been talking to Brandon about, and you about, and beautiful man. Beautiful, beautiful face.
The one you want to eat his face?
Yes, I want my face to be on his face. But the problem is gosh darn, the rest of him is a dumpster fire of a man. He is a mess. When he talks, I want to hit him with a phone book. I do not enjoy his company, but on paper, here's the thing. We communicate over text, and he's funny and he's witty. His picture, like on paper, he's perfect for me. And then when I see him in person, I want to whip him with a car antenna until he shuts his mouth.
A car antenna, oh my God.
So,
You still make those?
There's one on my car, and I will break it off for him.
what is your worst dating story from online?
Do you really want it? It's bad.
Okay.
It's
Spill it.
bad. Okay, well, I met this guy. He was really sweet. We just started talking, whatever. And then
But now you met him online.
I met him online. I met him on
Where
Tinder.
you met him online?
I met him on Tinder.
Okay.
And so we were talking,
Well,
whatever.
based on the description you gave me earlier,
Oh.
we now know what you were looking
Oh, no,
for.
no. I say on my profile, I'm looking for a relationship.
Okay.
So we started talking, and then he just stopped talking to me altogether. I asked to be his friend on Snapchat because I want to see him moving around. He sent me, like, snaps of him moving around. He has a puppy, and I was like, oh, my God, you have a puppy. He's so cute. And then he just stopped talking to me. We were supposed to meet up on a Friday, and that Thursday, he disappears out of nowhere. And I'm like, well, that's really crappy. Thank you for that, sir. So I unfriended him everywhere. I was like, no. I blocked him. I said, no, thank you. If you're going to be a jerk, I'm done with you. Thank you, though. Thank you for playing. And then I started getting really weird snaps from people I had never heard of before. And I block those. Like, I immediately say, I don't know you. Please leave. Like, before I even open them, I'm like, I don't know you. So I'm on Bumble one day, and I see this guy who stood me up. Same dude. And I match with him, and I go, hey, man, what's your problem? Because apparently I was feeling feisty that day. And he was like, where did you go? You disappeared on me. And I was like, oh, no. Let me set that record right straight. I was like, you disappeared on me. We were supposed to meet up on a Friday. You disappeared. He's like, my phone broke. I tried to contact you through 3 different numbers, and you didn't answer. Like, I have 3 different accounts I tried to reach you through. I was like, oh, that was you. Okay.
3 different? Okay.
Like, he had 3 friends that he tried to reach out to me through to let me know that he wasn't going to be there and he wasn't going to be able to make those plans because he didn't have my phone number. He only had my Snapchat. So I was like, okay, no. And he was like, no, for real though. And I go, okay, let's tentatively try this. Let's see.
Tentatively?
I was like, let's just try talking and see what happens. So I believe him. Like, it takes a lot for me to push past bullshit. And this was not bullshit. So I was like, okay, we'll start talking again. Well, he gives me his Instagram because I had never seen a picture of him smiling. And I was like, are you ever happy, or are you just like, do you have a problem? So he sent me a picture from his Instagram. It had his first and last name as his Instagram handle. I couldn't remember what he did, like, as a job. And that was hooked to our Tinder conversation. And when you unfriend somebody, it deletes your conversation history. So I was like, oh man, I can't remember what he does. So I typed in his first and last name on Google. 2 web searches popped up, and they were for grand larceny charges. He robbed the little old lady next door of all of her stuff because he was addicted to pills.
Wow. You know how to pick them.
And I said, and that night, like, my heart stopped, and I talked to my friend Heather, and I was like, how on earth do I address this for the love of all that's good? I'm supposed to be seeing him in a day. And she was like, well, you figure it out. I was like, eh. So I basically said, all right, let's ask some difficult questions tonight. I was like, have you ever been married? Do you have any kids? And I was like, haha, have you ever been arrested? Like, come on. And he said, no kids, never been married, never been in trouble with the law. And I was like, no, bad. I was like, no, sir, no. I said, then why? It's like, I didn't want to be this person, but I just looked up your name online, and I did find 2 grand larceny charges.
Oh, you just took a picture and screenshot of it.
Well, I sent him links underneath. I said, can you explain these to me? And he said, I don't really know you, and I didn't feel like I owed you that explanation. And I was like, I feel like I'm about to meet you in a public place, and I feel like you do.
Well, I think he kind of has a point, though.
I get it. But at the same time, don't lie to me.
Yeah.
I asked him a direct question. Have you ever been arrested? Not, have you ever been in trouble before?
Got you. No, if you asked him that.
I asked him, have you ever been arrested? And he said no.
Got you. Yeah, so that was a blatant lie.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, so that was my absolute worst, and that was within the last 6 months.
Wow. So you're fresh.
So yay
since
for
2019
me.
has started?
Yay, yes.
Wow.
I've had quite a few dumpster fires this year alone.
She is horrible at whispering.
I'm horrible at talking at a normal volume, so I get it.
Yeah, I'm horrible at laughing.
But yeah, so that is one reason that you never, ever, ever have your first and last name as any handle of anything.
You know, I've learned that and I've changed that, but I also feel like, I should leave it on there because they could find me.
No,
I've changed it in recent years.
No.
I'm just like, nah.
I don't want people to find me. None of my name. You will never find my
Well,
last name
the way
on
people get
anything.
fired these days from their job for saying stuff, I had to just change mine and get a whole new alias because y'all not gonna catch me.
My Instagram is not my name. My Facebook, you cannot find me first and last name unless you know everything.
So we've
about me.
become a society of aliases.
Yep.
Yeah, but not for dating. There's part of it, yes, but for other reasons. People are afraid to say what they want to say and be affiliated with certain groups, and so.
Oh no, I don't give my information out to men. Period, because. You hear horror stories.
So.
I know. You hear horror stories. Like my actual pictures on my Tinder or my Bumble never match. Well, like they never match my Facebook pictures. I never give them my school.
Though, people put too much on their social media profiles.
Well, and that's something I want to talk about, and we're really running out of time. But catfishing, a lot of that comes from online dating services, things like that.
That is what catfishing is, yeah.
Mostly from social media, not necessarily on. Well, I guess. I mean, that's where I guess the online dating's profile part,
or Facebook, or Instagram,
but the social media stuff for real. It was because you could put so much access information about you on the social media page that it's easy for people to just go and take it.
Well, and that's something and I have watched talk shows, over catfishing. I won't mention which ones, but they don't get the publicity. But it surprises me how many people, I guess because they're lonely or just really in need of having somebody else's attention and what they fall for.
Baby.
If somebody were to ask me for money, because they've got this, that, and the other, and they're in another country or this and that, hang it up, because I ain't giving you a dime.
Right.
I've had people in the
Princes of Nigeria.
I've had people in the United States do it.
Well, yeah. That they're going to be evicted from their home, and their car's going to be,
I need $20.
If somebody's asking you for money and you've just met them, whether it's in person or through social media, for God's sake, people, don't do it.
Bye. I love giving away all of my money. I'm very rich.
I saw this one lady on one of these talk shows. She had given away her entire retirement savings, thinking that this guy was going to come. And when the show tracked down who it was, it's not these people. Oh, you know what? They can tell you whatever you want online.
That I will say, there are success stories. I definitely met someone online years ago, and we didn't have anything to go like relationship wise. Although they did fall in love with me, and they probably still are.
As we all do.
Yeah. But like, it's a real person. Like, I know who that person is. I have FaceTimed them. I have called them on the phone. I have seen pictures of them.
Oh, you mean you've never met this person?
I've never met the person. I met the person online. I met them on a social media page years ago. And we exchanged numbers. And like, literally for years.
Right.
Facebook's pictures, updates. Like, even though like it's all through social media and other platforms.
You built something.
I built a relationship with this person. Now, I definitely don't talk to them because they're freaking crazy.
But did they ask you for money?
No. They didn't go that far. It was just a developing friendship.
Well, and I can see that happening. And I can see something like that eventually turning into, a potential relationship. Certainly not that one.
Yeah.
But that kind of online dating is not where you just meet somebody and you go meet them in a bar, you go to dinner or something like that.
Yeah.
People put their lives at stake
Yeah.
every time you do that. You don't know. It's a 50-50, and sometimes I really think it's 75-25. 75% is danger, 25% is normal. You just do not know, and without having, even through that social media relationship for years, for all you know, he's a Nigerian prince.
Or he's your best friend, just messing with you.
Unfortunately, he told me way too much information about him.
Ooh.
I knew what city, I knew what state, I knew what high school.
Right.
I knew way too much information.
But I mean, like,
But he
there's a
could be
whole
living
show.
somebody else's life. You don't know that.
Yeah. There's a
Watch
whole
Criminal Minds.
Oh, preach. There's a whole TV show called Catfish where all they do is people write in where they're like, so I don't think this person I'm in love with is a real person.
See, now I
Help
never
me
fell in
track
love
them
with nobody
down.
online.
I fell in love with one of the people on that show. One of the hosts. I was like, hey, how are you?
Neve.
Yes, Neve. And
What's the other one name?
Max. I don't want to talk
Max
about it.
always confused me. 'Cause
He's a delight, and you love
was
him.
part young, part
Anyway.
old, and I couldn't figure out
He
what
had gray
line.
hair, and he was young.
Yeah, I was
Anyway.
confused. So, I
But
mean,
like
no
all
shade,
these
Max.
people, a lot of times it was their friend trying to get back at them, or it was
I
somebody
never
trying to
understood
like
that.
keep tabs on them in a weird way, or people who, I don't know, people need to be smarter about it, but sometimes people have never taught them how to be so. Like
Well, no, that's just crazy. The things that the people doing on Catfish is
oh no,
pure
they're
crazy.
insane. But sometimes people don't think they're too wrapped up in the
It
situation
can't happen to me.
that they don't think I need to meet for coffee in the middle of the day in a place where people can see me, where my car is parked nearby, where I can see myself walking to it, and somebody from the register can see me walk to my car.
Part of that comes from people don't teach you how to date.
That. And
They
it's
don't
just
teach you how to do the
people
dating
think it will
Online
never happen
dating
to
doesn't
them.
teach you that.
No.
Online dating is human trafficking
Online dating.
Having
in its
can-
pure form. I mean,
Online-
you're getting on there
It's true.
shopping for a person.
Yeah, I agree.
I believe
Online
that,
dating
yes.
was created by millennials, though. So
Yeah.
I find it interesting
which is why it's hard for
that.
me.
No,
'Cause I'm
granted,
on
they're
the
not gonna
cusp.
say like 100% because I know
So
some of these sites were
old.
around when my mother was in like her 30s. You know,
Was,
whatever.
was she just that old? Was she really old when she was in her 30s?
I
Is
feel
that
like-
what you're saying?
I mean-
Is she just like the oldest
I mean,
person
she's
that
about
ever
the same age as I am. I don't recall dating sites
I don't think she used to.
until
Oh,
what? How long have they been
2000s,
around?
in the 2000s.
Okay.
Well, as a 33-year-old woman who's very much alone, they've always been around.
See, that puts me in my 40s with
When they
online
started.
dating.
I mean, because I remember computers aren't as advanced as they were when I was growing up. I remember when like having a gateway computer and Windows 95 and 98. So like, I mean, I'm
and
not
online
that
dating
old.
wasn't around until the 2000s.
Yeah.
Period.
So
But and it
people
wasn't.
don't teach them how to do that though. So I find it interesting that really that's why I say it was created by millennials in a sense.
It's true.
And they don't know how to date.
Aren't they the same ones who
Well, they don't
created
know how to-
speed dating?
Yeah, they don't know how to date in person. Is also another problem.
yeah.
It's they don't know how to date
What's the
online.
point of speed
Well,
dating?
They don't know
We
how to
don't
meet
know
in
how
person.
to date or be. We have no personal skills anymore.
No, it's
we
the
do
worst.
I
not
have great
teach
personal
them
Could
personal
you be quiet?
skills.
It would be a delight for me. Thank you.
My number one just lets me know I have a great personal skill.
You do. Boop boop. No, you don't. You're
His
terrible.
initials rhyme with John F. Kennedy.
I hope he hears
You know,
this.
hope he
As-
never hears it.
I hope
he
this
never-
circulates
It is
in the
going
office.
around the
I hope
office.
this circulates in the
I don't
office.
think he knows, but you know, whatever. It's fine. You know, it's fine.
I'm dying right now, but I don't think that. I don't know. I don't feel like we're taught to respect the person on the other end of the dating situation. I have always been very honest, and I've asked people to be very honest. If you're not interested, if you see a picture or a snap of me and you're just not feeling it anymore, tell me. Do not waste 2 weeks of my life while you try to slowly peter me out and then ghost me. that wastes 2 weeks of my life. Just say, you know what, I'm just not interested at this time. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah.
Well, see, I'm not caught up on the attraction 100%. Like, I obviously believe you should be attracted to somebody in a sense, but y'all know I like average men and women. So,
but like, if you see a picture and you go, or you talk to someone and you go, nope, not happening, do you let it fade out and then ghost them? Or do you just tell them straight up, I'm not interested?
Have you established a conversation? Respectfully.
Yes.
If you've established a conversation respectfully, you should tell them you're not interested.
Thank you. A lot of
people don't. And unfortunately, people do not do that.
No.
I have no beef with doing that.
No.
And there's no problem. And I will respect you more if you tell me that.
Yeah. The majority of people do not do it,
that's why I don't like that block feature. Because that's the cop-out. Nope, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to say anything block. Well, no. That doesn't create anything.
It doesn't even go for dating. People are not taught respect, period.
It's true.
If you don't respect your coworkers or your family members or the person next door, how the hell are you going to respect somebody you just met online and have no attachment to?
One of the biggest lessons people have to remember is that someone else doesn't have to have your perspective. Ooh, and the respect level that you have for what they view or what they think or what their opinion is will make you just as great of a person as they are. Yeah. So what if I meet you and you like chocolate cake and I don't? That's not the end of the world.
It is, though.
People don't understand relationships compromise. It's not just marriage. Relationships, mutual friendship, romantic or whatever.
Work relationships, the whole ball of wax.
It's all a compromise. And it doesn't mean give up who you are as a person and your traits and some things you hold near and dear to you value-wise. Yeah. But you are not the only person in the world. Yeah. And you have to understand that there's a person across from you.
Well, here's another question. And I don't know how y'all decide this, but in my history of relationships, very much air quoted.
Air quote.
I think I have called one person.
Situationships. What you have.
Yes. I have called one person boyfriend. I do not call people anything until we have both decided that is our title. I don't care if you have met my mother. Yeah. Until we have sat down and we have decided what we are as a group, I am dating you.
Oh, see, I'm old school. I have to still ask you, or you have to ask me if you want to be in a relationship.
Oh, yeah, no, like I'm not in a relationship with you. I am not dating you. We're nothing until we have had that conversation. And so a lot of guys freak out and they're like, she's gonna put a label on it and she's gonna make me her girlfriend and boyfriend situation and I can't do it. And I'm like, do you know how much your life will not change if that label gets attached?
Guys are more sensitive about the label than women.
Oh my God, it's without, like, I don't care. I just don't.
Is that your girlfriend? And it's just like, I mean, yeah, it's your girlfriend. I don't really know. And she's like,
I don't care, man. Are you going, like...
But see, when you never date... You don't have to worry about that label.
See, but like
I find you a relic.
Okay. It makes men run away though, because they have bad experiences. And when you say, I don't care about the label, they go, okay, sure, yeah, right. But
men care about the label more than women.
I think that relationship is a rough term too. When we say online dating, it's like, what does dating mean anymore?
People don't know how to date, and I will stand by that.
And people don't know what dating is.
Old school. We have to date. So experts, quote unquote experts, I read this article, and this is probably maybe 4 years ago, so it could have changed. So experts would say you were supposed to date someone for 5 years before you engage in a relationship with them.
What?
You were to then date another 5 years before you even get married, if that's the option.
I believe that actually a little bit.
So a 10-year time frame, 5 year for dating, 5 year for the relationship before you move on. Now, I do understand it because 5 years is a lot to go through with somebody.
Yeah.
To determine who they are, characteristics of them, traits you may like, they may not like. You find out with these people. Is it excessive in a sense? Because 5 years is a lot of time.
Well, here's a whole another aspect we haven't even touched on, maybe for a later date. What about arranged marriages?
Oh, don't even.
How long do they have to
figure that out?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a whole nother thing. And that's somebody you don't know. You've never met.
That's true. But they make them, make them meet. I do know a young man who had an arranged marriage. He and his wife are here in Middle Tennessee. And I think they seem to be, going with the flow.
I guess if that's how you're brought up, and that's a whole mindset.
Second nature, because I would ask him, like, when is the wedding and how's your wife? And like they were already married, and then he would say, oh, she's coming to the States in 2 months and we had to get her green card. Like it was almost second nature conversation for them. And I guess it's just how he wasn't fused, but it was like, it's happening.
It's very bizarre to us.
But,
It
like,
is, because...
To your point, my parents dated for 8 years. Like, they broke up for a hot minute because his parents thought that they were getting too serious and they wanted him to focus on his education. So he broke up with her for 2 months. And they realized that they wanted to be together. They were together for 33 years before my dad died. Like, 8 years set this solid foundation for them, where they went through a lot of crap before, and they knew that they were solid.
I don't know how to do that no more.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Like, they knew they could go through pretty much anything: death, birth, life, like, you name it in your family or in your close friends, you could get through it. Debt, a windfall, a new company, a degree, like, you name it, and you can survive it in 8 years.
But you were taught then. Marriage is supposed to be a foundation for a lifetime.
Yep.
And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, exactly, we would like you, our listeners, send us your stories, what you think. What do you think helps fix the relationship breakage that we're experiencing in America right now?
Help me.
Listen, and if you have documentation, because we all know dating profiles are with the shit some days. If you have any awesome documentation of these dating profiles, hit up Online Dating Dumpster Fire on Instagram. Submit what you have, and I guarantee you're going to have a great laugh.
Well, and you can reach us at
TheRealSolutionPodcast.com. Holla at us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Brandon Bad out.
Bye.
Beep.